Alright, YouTube, the video down below is from CBS News, and they're just analyzing the different amounts of money that each Democratic candidate have raised. So they're talking about Bernie, talking about Kamala Harris, talking about the other fella, Pete Buttigieg, I believe is his name, the mayor from, what was it, Akron, Ohio? I'm not sure. Anyways, look, Bernie is probably the most popular candidate out of all the names that I've just mentioned, and including the names that I haven't mentioned. So you've got Biden, you've got Manchin isn't running. You've got Biden, you've got I mean, you just got so many names. Warren, you've got Booker, you've got there's too many names to. I mean, there's too many names to name. In fact, I think they were saying the other day that this Democratic pool of candidates is actually the highest it's ever been in American history, which is pretty outstanding. I mean, it's basically just showing how desperate the Democrats are. But let's go ahead and take this seriously for a second. Bernie Sanders still remains the best threat against Trump, and from a populist standpoint. So the people that hate Trump the most are generally Bernie Sanders supporters. So they tend to side with Bernie, even if it's just out of pure contrarianism. It's basically like, whatever Trump does, we're going to support Bernie, if that makes sense. Anyways, basically just like they hate Trump, they like Bernie, and that's kind of a constant. And I've accepted that. These are people that generally, you can't really treat them like Trump supporters the way the left treats Trump supporters, because we often say, oh, they're just stupid, oh, whatever. I don't think that's fair, because I do have a lot of friends that are Bernie supporters. They're not stupid people by any means. They're different, for sure. They're different. They're liberal. They believe in socialism. They believe in helping the poor. And that's fine. I respect that. I don't believe that we should help the poor. I think that we should help ourselves, and if we have any left over, we can help the poor if we feel, the need to. And just I reject government as an arbitrator, for redistributing wealth. I think that should be done in the private market. Absolutely. I'm not a big fan of command economies. And that's kind of why begrudgingly I've kind of applauded Trump on his tariffs. It's like, okay, great. You're bringing more money into our economy, but at the same time, you're acting as a leftist. You're taking you're taking a hands-on approach onto our economy when it should be a free market. But somebody could debate me about that. I'm ready to get schooled. I'm willing to get schooled. But anyways, look, Bernie, he still remains the number one threat against Trump. He definitely is a threat against Trump, because I think that if you were to put those two guys on the debate stage, I think it would be a pretty even match. I think Trump would probably win, but at the same time, Bernie would hit Trump harder than any of his adversaries have been able to. If you want to look at it very cynically, of course, looking at the RNC debates, the Republican debates, maybe they're going easy on Trump because they want him to be their guy. I don't know. Could be. But even Hillary, Hillary, who has been in plenty of debates and has done plenty of public appearances and speaking and stuff, she was completely... I think the first debate, she did a good job against Trump, because I think Trump was probably a little too wired. I think that take that to mean whatever you want, but I think that he was a little too up there. In the second debate, his tone was perfect. He absolutely met the moment when he needed to, in every single moment. In the third debate, I think he kind of fell back to his first debate tendencies, and I think Hillary was still pretty beaten up by the second debate. I think she still was kind of recovering from that. So it was kind of an ugly debate, the third one. I didn't like it. And just another sidebar here, Chris Wallace was able to point out to both of them that, your economic plans are going to send us further into debt. I thought that was nice. I don't really give Chris Wallace much credence on anything, but that was good. I'm glad he pointed that out, because it's very, very important. It's especially important when I'm trying to opine to you guys that I believe that Trump is a business Democrat. He's not a Republican whatsoever. He's not a constitutionalist. He's not a conservative. He's Trump. He's his own guy. But if you were to typecast him, I think you would probably call him a business Democrat, a business-friendly Democrat. So very socially liberal, doesn't give a shit who you sleep with, doesn't give a shit what your skin color is. he just really cares about making the populace happy, and he's done a really good job at that, in my opinion. Even though he's failed in some policy, I think that come election, he's going to get reelected. Sorry, keep diverting. Bernie still remains the number one threat to beat Trump. He's raised, I think it was like 18.2 million, and I think that he's probably gotten some money from AIPAC, like all of these candidates have. Let's not fucking kid ourselves here. Maybe except for Omar, she's getting her money from FAIR. No, but I mean, like Bernie, I mean, even though he's getting money from AIPAC, from Dirty AIPAC, and I know Trump is getting money from Dirty AIPAC, they still remain the best representatives of their populace or their base or their electorate, because Trump talks the right way. Bernie talks the right way. And I know Jimmy Dore, in closing, I know Jimmy Dore has given Bernie Sanders some shit, because of his stance on Venezuela. He was basically siding with Trump. He was basically saying, like, yeah, I think that, we ought to do something. As Jimmy Dore put it, and I couldn't agree anymore, he was saying that Bernie was basically repeating CIA talking points about, possible intervention in Venezuela, which would be a terrible idea, and I'm all against that. I fucking hate Maduro. I really do. I really don't like Maduro. I think he's an asshole. Pardon my French. But still, he is their elected leader, and if the people have a problem with him, then yes, they should dethrone his ass. But I don't think that they should receive any type of aid, monetary or material, from the United States. I think that would be a terrible idea. Not just in terms of, trying to put an end to, United States interventionism around the world and imperialism, but also I think it would do a really good job on our karma. I think our karma would definitely be more forgiving if we were to keep our nose out of their business, just mind our own business. I think it's a very, very, very pertinent right now that we do that. But yeah, Bernie and Trump, they definitely represent the left and the right, respectively, the best out of everybody. I think maybe Daryl Kyle is giving some threat to Trump, and I think that maybe AOC, as well as even Tulsi Gabbard, Jimmy Dore, has decided to endorse Tulsi Gabbard over Bernie Sanders. I'm a little surprised there, to be honest, but Tulsi Gabbard is also willing to go on his show, so definitely some... I'm saying this tongue-in-cheek, some collusion there. It's so stupid. It's like, politicians, they always get handouts from the media. It's like, let's not fucking punish people for that, Let's just call it out. Let's just call it out. And just leave it at that. Let's try and get these sanctions and these fines out of our vocabulary. It's all giving more power to the government, in my opinion. It doesn't matter what the fight is. They just want to step in and just say, hey, yeah, fuck it. Let's tax the shit out of them, and let's fucking, let's make their lives a living hell. I'm not for that. I'm really not. But anyways, Tulsi Gabbard probably has an edge over Bernie Sanders in terms of foreign policy, given his slip up with Venezuela and past things too. I mean, I think Tulsi Gabbard, and she's coming from the CFR, so you have to be very, very cautious with her. Just keep an eagle eye on her. But no, anyways. Bernie, he still represents the left very well. Trump represents the right very well. I think there's dissidents in both communities, but at the same time, I think they're probably the most kosher and best fitting people for those roles. Wow. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless. And I'll see you tomorrow.